we are going to wrap things up with 4 final questions with Wayne Hauenstein as we round the bases. First one, tell me about the book that you co-wrote called Culture, the Essentials Needed to Build a Dynasty in Sports and Business. I find this one very fascinating because I don't know which one's more difficult or if they're both equally difficult. You and I both know, based on the economics and the structures of sports, although my sport of baseball is quite a bit different than the others.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, it's hard to build dynasties in sports, even in baseball, where you don't have a salary cap. I think you could build dynasties in terms of, I think your Braves right now are in the early stages of a dynasty. And I don't know if that'll come with a whole lot of titles or not. I think they had a dynasty in the 90s and they only won 1 title. I guess the question is this, and I think you could be more sustainable longer term in business, but as Simon Sinek has written about, I mean, these things end, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they don't go on forever. The Infinite Game is the book that he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So 2-part question with this first question. One, what's more difficult, building a dynasty in sports or business? And 2, what is a dynasty? What makes, I don't even know how to define a dynasty in sports because we don't see the old days of the Pittsburgh Steelers or the New York Yankees in terms of winning championships. So what's more difficult and what is a dynasty?
Yeah, those are 2 really good questions. I think it's probably more difficult, to your point, in sports because you've got all of those nuances of salary cap and you've got the shorter term commitments now, and you've got these salaries are going out of control. So you're investing in people and you don't know whether their arm's going to blow out or something's going to happen. And so I think with organizations with a strong infrastructure, strong vision, strong board and leadership, and really those who are able to cascade down what success looks like and they're able to pivot. They're not a brand, but you know, they're a brand, but they're not just product centric, they're customer centric, like Mary talks about, and that they can pivot with the needs of the customer. That sustainability is there, and that opportunity to kind of build a dynasty. I mean, I think right now we're looking at Amazon, we're looking at Netflix, we're looking at a few that we're able to foresee things ahead of the curve. And I think that organizations that are able to do that will fit into that dynasty mode. But I think, to your point, the Braves, though we've only won 2 world championships through this run, I think being able to be discretionary with their spending and build a good farm team, so you've got that bench of folks that are coming into to that major league for baseball's senses, and for the NFL that have great scouting and know what it takes to move to that next level, and what that DNA looks like for that particular organization is super important. And I think you've got to have folks on your staff that can step into roles you look at Kirby Smart with Georgia. I think I'm a big Georgia Tech fan, so I'm not super excited to watch this dynasty. And I'm very reluctant to go this weekend because the game's at Georgia Tech and we have season tickets. So I committed to my son to go for the first half at least, and we'll take it from there. But you look at what Kirby Smart's done, and he's getting coordinators and other folks just pulled from him year after year. So he's building bench of folks that can step in. In some cases, he's brought them in from the outside. But I think it's just, you can build a dynasty if you have organic growth and that you're able to really have staff that's on the same page and that can plug and play and that really understand and work closely together. And then I think it's just that ability to really have that recruiting, whether it's in business or whether it's in sports, aligned with your biggest organization, the major leagues or the NFL or on down the line with soccer we were talking about earlier. I think it's just having a whole farm system that speaks the same language as the bigger organization.
I think the key answer, and I know that this is part of your book that you co-wrote with Carlos Quintero, is, and on the website for the book, saleseffectiveness.com, it asks the question, what do you think the most important essential behavior and practice is needed to shape any culture? So I think you believe this too, that dynasties have cultures. You could have the most talent and win for a year or win here and there, but if you're not doing it year after year after year, I think that you're potentially lacking that culture. Is that a fair assessment?
It is. I mean, you can't buy a winning team. It's something that was interesting that I read that I really, though I follow the Braves so closely, I did not learn it into this year, is that every time the Braves go on a road trip, all 26 of them go out together. It's not going into 10, 15 different taxis and they all go do their own thing and then they're ready the next day. So they work out together, they live and breathe together, they socialize together. You have factions on the team, and it could be cultural, it could be otherwise, that they are a team. And I think that's a piece of the DNA that winning organizations, both in sports and in business, have. And I think that's the important fabric. That do we get along, and can we really collaborate on an ongoing basis, and are we all in it for the same reason?
Yep, I love that. All right, let's talk. And I agree with every bit of that as well. Tough to get 26 guys out together, but I've seen it over the course of my career. The teams that are going out together, out for a bite to eat, hanging out together, they're going to fight for each other. They're going to battle for each other more. Second question, I want to go back to your playing days. I don't know if you gave this or Ashley researched it. I'm always amazed at some of the information that we get. And I see that you once were fined for bringing a copy of What to Expect When You're Expecting in the Dugout.
I don't know. She may have found that. Yeah, that could be it for my men's team. Maybe I don't know.
I did read something about how you had a propensity to maybe not agree with umpires or something along those lines. I want to hear about this feisty side of Wayne Hauenstein.
Yeah, so I do have a propensity to get passionate. As a fan, I was as a player. I'll tell you one story that my friends, we talk about it every time we get together, but I played in the MABL. I don't know if you've heard of that, the Men's Adult Baseball League, for many years, with a bunch of guys that I still hang out with, 15 years plus years later after stopped playing. But we were in the championship, and we had to get out, and for whatever reason, it wasn't our home field, but we were supposed to prep the field. It had been raining the entire night, so we had to get there 3 hours early and prep the field. And so we were already a little bit ornery, and we had to play the doubleheader for this championship. So long story short, we lose like a 1-run game in game 1, and then game 2, I was up in the first inning, and the guy threw this curveball like at my eyes, and he called it a strike. I said, kind of under my breath, I said I needed a stepladder to hit that, and the umpire goes, "What?" And I said, I needed a stepladder to hit that. And so he threw me out. And then they were like pushing me, trying to get me out of the dugout. And I was just like, if it wasn't for Larry, Moe, and Curly. So I kind of lost it. And my friends make fun of me because my wife was chasing me down to my car going, Wayne. So it's a funny time that we reflect on. But I'd hit my breaking point due to all those other circumstances. And the umps didn't want to be there, and they let us know every at bat, every out. So it was quite comical.
There's maybe a culture discussion there as
well.
Yes.
I was not setting a good culture for my teammates. That's for sure.
We'll save that one for another day. All right. Third question. I understand that you should have been a lefty. I don't know if you would have been a left guy, or if you ended up being a right with the ability to go left. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it definitely helped me with my baseball career. So it was really weird. My best friend in kindergarten was left-handed, and I happened to be left-handed too. And for whatever reason, my teacher focused in on me and made it her mission to make me right-handed. And she forced me to do everything with my right hand. And so it allowed me to be an infielder. I would have only been a first baseman if I was, a left-hander for baseball. But so it was one of those weird moments of my life. And so because of that shift, I always had to look at my left wrist. I had a freckle to tell my left from my right because it was very compounding and confusing for me. Yeah, it was very odd. So now I throw the frisbee and I play pool left-handed. I can still eat ambidextrous, but I do everything that I do on a regular basis with my right hand. So that might have helped me with my cognitive side too.
Yeah, right. It's just always interesting to see how guys develop like that and what the motivation was to get there or what the story was. So that's a fun one. Let's wrap it up with a question. I'll ask this every now and then to people, especially when I get the sense that they are very active in terms of reading. Every time now that you and I have connected, hasn't been a lot yet. I hope and expect for many more over time. You've always got a book or two or three that you're reading. What are you looking at right now, or what's on the horizon for you? Because I know that, and this would certainly make sense for a guy that founded a company called Learning Curve Consultants. You are always learning.
Yes, I do feel like you constantly have to be a lifelong learner. And so I shared a stack of books that are on my list right now. The Go Giver, it's a little story about a powerful business idea. I heard you've already read that, and
That one's excellent.
powerful. Excited about that. I've heard it's a nice pivot. I'm reading for my book club How to Think Like a Roman Emperor. It's Donald Robertson, so that should be a little bit fascinating. And then Tomorrow Mind by Gabriella Rosen Kellerman. Those are my three next on my list. And I just read Atomic Habits by James Clear for like the third time. And so I think I'm going to jump out. I belong to the master class. He just like last month or 2 months ago did a whole master class with his tips around habits. So I'm going to check that out as well.
Never Stopping, and some really good suggestions there for anyone. I think that was 4 that we ended up getting from Wayne. So if you've already read them, hey, shoot us a message. Tell us what you think. And if you haven't read them, check them out. If you've read them, you may want to double down or triple down as Wayne did on James Clear's book as well. So really good stuff there. Wayne, wishing you the best in 2024. Again, grateful to Mary for connecting us, and Brian to Mary, and on with the good old coaching tree, so to speak. And again, we'll let everybody know, Learning Curve Consultants, lc-consultants.com. Unleash your talent. We deliver life-changing learning experiences that push individuals outside their comfort zone and enable them to become better versions of themselves every single time. We are Learning Curve Consultants. Wayne, thanks so much for spending time on Rounding the Bases.
Absolutely. Thanks, Joel. It's been a pleasure.